the heart and what happens to it when it breaks. Now, I would like to name something most people feel but don't have the language for. And I'm not talking about the boyfriend breaking up with you kind of heartbreak. This is a form of consciousness living inside the beating chamber that carries a merge of humanness, potential gumption, existential grief, especially for hybrids and starseeds, innate joy that is born with us, also sorrow carried from lineages, especially if the soul entering the womb is empathic, i.e. carrying no protective aura. Now, to clarify, I am talking to the woman or women who have stared death in the face or have come very close to dying. If you're not one of them, perhaps this post is not for you. So, the heart is the carrier of the spirit and the mind. If at any point there is an existential misunderstanding or confusion, the mind splits from the heart center and travels to its own realm, and this is called soul fragmentation. Now, when this happens, the doors to the heart stay ajar, meaning that anything can enter. There are no protective boundaries around it. The psyche notices the danger and clamps it down, slowing the heartbeat, blood flow, arterial potential, life force, money, and vision. The head takes over, the brain takes the role of CEO, and the heart starts existing between barbed wire. Medically, this will not be mapped. No doctor opens up the ribcage and senses the existential split. So the being is perceived as chaotic, dispersed, and even lost. And it is not the case. Now I'll go into some pseudo-clinical talk. The body carrying this senses a loss of spirit and is seen as just fine from the outside. Internally, it's a different beast. I see this in deep unmanaged trauma in clients who have been on an operating table and managed to turn the ship around. Came back, carried on relentlessly, were seen as warriors, but the heart never fully resuscitated. The mind went one way, the spirit went another, and the body only existed. If I am speaking to you, listen closer. This message is coming out of my own work in the field of past life karmic decoding, work done for a client and for myself. This clamping shows sexually too. There is a rigidity in the pelvic bowl because the body is now refusing any form of pleasure. There is energetic circulation being blocked by a learned protective clamp that once saved your life and is now strangling it. But you have a drive that is almost beastly, the kind that cannot be taken down easily. This is seen or felt inward as the chariot or horse in full charge meeting a black wall with barbed wire. So this is the language of the nervous system. So this is an unstoppable, unfuckwithable drive hitting a prohibition. That wall isn't fear of moving. It's fear of what happens when the heart fully opens and momentum returns. Because the last time that happened, something catastrophic followed. So the system learned open, move, expand, allow joy equals danger, so shut it down. This is done very silently and viscerally and not even consciously. On the human vessel, this will show up as a form of chronic, persistent, haunting symptoms around the thymus, lungs, heart, at times reaching the throat. I'm talking glands, arteries, immunity, blood, lymph. It will show up in spirit just before the split. The woman in this state of trauma would have been too little to take full charge of her life. And then the distortion travels into the emotional field, the energy body, and then finally, when all signs are ignored, it takes residency in the soma. Over the last 3 months, something came through randomly as a technique that pulls the entire woman together. The head, the heart, body, psyche, emotions, energy, spirit, and asks her to follow a savage 2 weeks to live protocol. This removes distractions, puts the metaphoric syringe right into the heart, and extracts the entire library of memories. Ones she has no idea she was carrying, and others that need to be beautifully merged back into the blood, digestive system, and pooped right out of the body. I have had an array of women in front of me, all carrying the same issue, but going around it because they do not know what the fuck to do. The heart is beating, but it's also slowing right down. The drive is there, but it's falling flat. Athletes, competitive bodybuilders, ex-military, dancers, inmates, cancer survivors, or ones facing hormonal decline or death. Now, you will do everything to bring the spirit back. Yoga, breathwork, spas, anger management. It relieves, but does not last. It's because the rituals are surface level despite being cast as spiritual. That's why they give only temporary relief and the cycle keeps returning. Tears, especially. You will cry or swallow them back in. Either way, they discharge pressure, but they don't renegotiate the contract. As soon as circulation begins again, the sentinel comes back online. Not because it's cruel or because you signed some death contract. It is because it's old, loyal, and terrified of being wrong again. And it's lived in the cells long enough to be in command of the human body until its last breath. Now, this is very important, so please pause and listen in if these words are already hitting you hard. You are not stagnant because you lack will. You are stagnant because your heart learned that forward motion costs blood. And it is sending this exact memo to the brain. The above spiritual rituals without ancestral blood work becomes ossification. Like bone without circulation becomes very brittle. The writing of this post happened because it hit me that a particular collective of dark feminine has one foot on one ground and the other far away. They are in between earth. And the woman I'm talking about is split in the unknown, and it is fucking ugly, and she's feeling the split all over her mind, her heart, and her body. Yet, this is where Earth Chakra Jaguar medicine comes through. The fear is the exact coding she needs to touch. You've already nearly died. This is not going to scare you now. This is the jaguar who hunts in the dark with a coherent nervous system. You will touch a cold part of the earth, and you will be asked to renounce the body to the goddess or the earth star. This is medium work you do not fuck with. Lower entities are all over the place, and if a petition is not made for full divine protection, the barbed wire around the heart will collect more rust and bring it into soma. This is not fear-mongering either. I'm talking about the reality of mediumship and shamanic regression work that brings the heart back. But it needs to be done with incredible spiritual street smarts. What you may be feeling right now is your system saying, I'm ready to move, but I will not do it without heart sovereignty. This is where the rigid left brain, logic, reason, low mind, all forms of human hustle, hard work, discipline is showed out of the way. You do it inside a container that can see to both high and low entities. Then the earth field is entered, accessed, and interrogated without fear. You enter with a medium and you command authority over your body. If you are to live, there are no half measures. It is full life force or nothing at all. Now, that barbed wire is not your enemy. It is an outdated safety system guarding a territory you've already reclaimed, and you don't need to rip it out. The breakthrough registers when the earth injects the body with the highest form of love, receptivity, compassion, warmth. So the heart thaws and life force returns. Then the soma is shown again and again and again, infinitely, chronically, that movement is no longer equals to annihilation. Movement, rhythm. The heart starts to beat again. It opens its door to the mind and spirit, and the woman becomes one whole coherent force of nature. The heart wants to jump in a field that can hold it. The shamanic child returns as the heart authority. The pure wildness, not the demonized term society has put upon. It is the wild because nothing is blocking her circulation. She is the CEO. She doesn't negotiate with fear. She is fully alive, almost with no trauma.